Hello everybody, welcome to Filmmaking today. Boyan Dulabic here. So, would you like to edit your photos on the phone like the pros? Stay tuned. Alright guys, so in this episode we're going to talk about Lightroom CC. Just to give you a little bit of a background, Adobe a while ago announced Lightroom, the new version of Lightroom, which they call Lightroom CC, and then the Lightroom version at the time became Lightroom Classic, which is the desktop edition, and this is their cloud-based software. Now, at first, when I hear cloud-based, I was like, whatever, I don't care. However, recently I actually started using it on my phone, and it's actually a pretty sweet application. So, for example, let's say you're a photographer. Let's say you're shooting a wedding. And you got some photos and you want to be able to edit it in a matter of a few minutes right on your phone, and maybe you want to share it, maybe you want to send it to the bride and groom, whatever the case is. Well, Lightroom CC is the answer. It is a full-on program. I mean, it's still stripped down if you compare it to the classic edition, but when it comes to photo editing on a professional level, it's got everything you need. So in this episode, I'm going to open it up on my phone. We're going to edit a photo that I took a while ago, and we'll go from beginning to the end. I'll show you the entire interface, and then you'll see what you can do in this application. Just so you know, I am using an Android phone, so I'm using the Blue Vivo XL3 Plus, I think, long name. Anyway, it's a budget phone. It's a cheap Android phone, $150 unlocked. Now, it's a great phone, I love it, but I'm not using an iPhone here. I'm using a cheap Android phone, and I'm saying that for a reason, because you'll see you can do everything in Lightroom on a cheap Android phone. You don't need to have the latest and greatest software. So, just something to keep in mind. So, I'm going to fire up Lightroom here. It's just called Lightroom CC, and you get it on the App Store, whether it's iOS, Android. Like I said, you can have it on your desktop, Mac, PC, whatever it is, it will work basically on any platform. Alright, so here we have Lightroom, and this is what the interface looks like. So these are the folders I created. If you want to create a folder, you just hit this plus button here. You can create a folder or an album. Very simple. So let's go into the one folder that I created. Here we have 2 albums, and in the first one here, this is the photo. I took this a while ago, and this is the unaltered raw version of it. So basically what's happening right now is Lightroom is communicating with the server, getting the latest version of the photo. It's doing what Adobe calls smart preview. It's only downloading parts of the image that I need, so that it's saving on data, and that's something to keep in mind. This is using data, or if you're on Wi-Fi, it'll be using your internet. So this process could take, as you can see here, it could take up to a minute. Usually it's 20-30 seconds. So here we go. Now, as you can see, all of these settings down here, they should look very familiar at the bottom here, and I'm going to go through all of them and show you what they are. So here you can see all of them. They should look familiar to anyone who's done anything photo related, so we'll go through them one by one. Alright, so let's go back to the beginning. So the first one, let's skip the first 2, and I'll come back to those, and let's start with the crop one. Crop, it's crop. I mean, nothing fancy about it. You've got all the standard features down here: crop, straighten, all that good stuff. Rotate, shouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. So let's go back here. Let's go into profiles. Profiles are basically they're basically presets. Here's one right here, and it actually looks pretty sweet. But we're gonna create our own, so let's move back. Let's go to light. So light is basically one of the main things. Here you can see all of these features here. They should look familiar: highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, exposure, contrast, all that good stuff. and should look familiar to anyone. So we're gonna adjust the highlights. Let's crank that down. I want more detail in the clouds up here. So let's do that, and then let's go down here. What do we got here? So shadows. Let's increase the shadows just a little bit. Come on, and it's being a bit of a pain in the ass. Okay, there you go. So I want some shadows in. I want to increase the shadows here in where the trees are. So there we go. Let's take a look at the whites. Maybe let's see. Maybe yeah, a little bit here. All right, that should be fine. Gonna leave that for now. Also, another thing to keep in mind, you do have curves here. So you've got your standard channels. You got the white, red, green, and blue here. So you can adjust it whichever way you want. So that's that. Now let's go to color. So color here again, you have your standard color things. You know, whether it's tint, vibrance, saturation, all that good stuff. And then you have the mix feature here where you can target specific colors, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to target the blue one here, this Tiffany blue, and I'm going to crank that. Yeah, let's go up here because I want the water to really come through, right? So yeah, let's leave that here, and then I'm gonna target this deeper blue as well. I want to crank that really up, and then we're gonna go to the green because I want the tree, the leaves, the trees, I want those to really come through. I want really vibrant colors here for this image. So I mean, right here, that's a pretty big difference, right? And then if we go down here, let me see what we've got. Vibrance. Yeah, I'm gonna crank that up just. Yes, I'll still leave it around there, and then same with saturation. Crank that up. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Saturation. I'll leave it. Now, if you push the button, if you tap on the photo, you can see the before and after, which is great. And right here, I mean, this is pretty big. I mean, it makes a pretty big difference just doing these things, right? And you've got your white balance here as well if you want to change that, you know, your temperature setting and all that. That's all here, black and white. Now let's go to the next one, which is effects. So here you've got clarity, dehaze, vignette, and all that good stuff. So we're just gonna crank up the clarity. I really want this to be as clear as possible. And then down here you've got all of these other settings. If you want grain and, you know, all this good stuff here, we're just gonna leave the rest there. And so this is what that is. And then I'm gonna go to the next one here. So on the next one here, you've got all of these settings. You've got your sharpness, you've got your noise reduction, color reduction, and all that stuff. So I'm gonna just you know, increase this a little bit on the noise reduction. I mean, there isn't much noise, but I just want to get rid of whatever there might be. And yeah, so you've got all this stuff down here. We're just gonna, yeah, I'm just gonna leave all that. This is for lens correction. So if your lens needs to be corrected, this is where it is. In our case, it's all good. This is for geometry, so if you need to correct your vertical, your horizontal, and all that good stuff, this is where you do it. In my case, I think it's all fine. We don't need to worry about any of that stuff. The next one is presets. This is basically very similar as the profiles. Here you can target certain presets, so in this case, color. And then you've got in here you've got all these other ones, you know, black and white, grain, and all that stuff. If you want presets that are specific to a theme, I'm not going to worry about any of that. So that's that. Oh yeah, this one here, reset. This is if you want to reset the image to its original settings. That's where you do that. And now let's go back to the first two. As I mentioned, you've got selective and you've got healing. And right now, so this is before and after. And right now what I want to do, I'm going to zoom in, and there's a few things I want to get rid of. I want to get rid of these two here, the kids. They're distracting. So I'm going to get rid of them. And ideally, I want to get rid of the parents too, but that might be a bit challenging. But let's focus on the kids. So, so before I do that, I'm gonna do something else first. I wanna increase the shadow here where the trees are. I wanna this one right here. There's too much shadow. I wanna brighten that up a bit, and this is where the selective feature, selective brush, comes in very handy. So we're gonna go up here. We're gonna select the brush, and just basically, I'm just gonna highlight what I want to target. So it's just this right here, and with it highlighted, I'm gonna go here to light, and I'm just gonna use the shadow feature and just crank it up until I'm happy with it. So I'm not gonna overdo it. So as you can see, I just want to brighten it up a bit. So yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So this is the image right now, and I mean, this is pretty sweet. You can leave this the way it is, but we're gonna use the healing brush here, and we're gonna select these two here. So we're gonna go with the clone stamp here. So two finger pinch. With two fingers, you pinch in, zoom in, and right now, basically same thing. I'm gonna highlight this kid right here, and with the finger, and then just let go, and it's gonna select an area. Now this area, I don't like it, so I'm just gonna move this up a little closer to where the original image is, and then let go. It's gonna recalculate, and yeah, actually it looks pretty good. Yeah, actually I'm pretty happy with that one. So we're gonna do the same thing again now for the other kid. So pinch in until I'm close enough, and then same thing. I'm just gonna. This is a little bit trickier, so I'm just gonna highlight all of this and just make sure I get all that. And let's see what happens. Let go, and let's move it around. See what we get here. Yeah, I'm not too happy with that one. Okay, we're gonna go back in here, and let me see. Let me select this here. This looks too obvious, so let's move this around. And what do we got here? I don't know. Not too happy with that one. Let me see. Let's zoom in a bit more. All right. Okay, let's go a little bit closer. Yeah, I'm not too happy. This still stands out. So I'm gonna select the healing brush for this one instead of the clone, and let's see what happens. So if I move this closer, actually, you know what? Let's move this back. Yeah, you know what? Actually, this looks good. All right, we got it. Sweet. Now this looks pretty good. I would love to get rid of the parents as well, and the boat, and all this stuff here. Unfortunately, that's a bit more challenging. It is doable. It would take a bit longer, but that's something I would do in Photoshop, just because I'm more precise using a mouse or a digital pen as opposed to my fingers. So I'm gonna leave this the way it is, and yeah. So this is the photo. And here, again, here's the before, and here's the after. I mean, it's pretty big change if you ask me. And to me, this looks awesome. And we did all that in a few minutes on our phone. Now, if you want to save it, just hit this button right here, select which quality you want, and boom, here we go. It's being rendered. So now basically what it's doing now, it's actually downloading everything from Adobe server and rendering it all together, and then it's going to save a JPEG to your phone, and then at that point you can do whatever you want, share it, you know, whatever you want. Now this could take usually doesn't take more than a couple of minutes or so, sometimes less. It just depends on, I guess, your internet connection, your phone, you know, all kinds of things. So, yeah, just something to keep in mind. This could take a few minutes. only thing. So factor that into your time frame when it comes to that. And then as soon as this is done, like I said, it'll be a JPEG. And then as soon as this is done, we're also gonna jump into Lightroom on the desktop, because I want to show you everything we just did here is going to the server. And then when I open up Lightroom on my laptop or my desktop, it's gonna look the same. So now here we go. Now it's done. Hit OK. And that's it. So now let's take a look at the desktop version. So this is what the interface looks like on your desktop, and this is the image that we just worked on. It uploaded to the server and downloaded onto my desktop. These are the folders, so basically everything is the same. And if we take a look at the right side here we have all those settings. So here's everything I just changed, right? And if I want to change anything here, I could do it and it would upload and update on my phone. And here's all the other features and everything else. And like I said, this is the beauty. Everything is the same, no matter where you are, and it makes your life so much easier. So that's it, folks. As you saw, the desktop version looks basically the same. You know, obviously it's formatted for your screen as opposed to for, you know, this one, for your monitor, I mean. But it looks the same, everything's there, and that's really the powerful thing about Lightroom CC. It really is available on every device. And you know, it uses your, so as an Adobe subscriber, so you need to be an Adobe subscriber for this to work. So that's something to keep in mind. You have to be subscribed to either their Lightroom package, which I want to say is $10 a month. I could be wrong on that one, or the whole suite, which I think is $50 a month. So you need to be subscribed to that, and with that you get 100 gigs free, cloud storage basically. Now I get it, 100 gigs. If you're a true professional photographer, 100 gigs is nothing. I mean, you probably create 500 gigs a year, right, or more. So 100 gigs, not much. And I do hope Adobe's working on that, because like I said, it's not much. But if it is enough for you, this is great, and it's something to look into because it's very convenient. You can use your existing phone. You don't need anything fancy. Boom, boom, edit it, get it to a professional level, or at least get it to somewhat, you know, professional level. Maybe you did a photo shoot. You're on your way home. You're on the bus. Whatever it is, you got a few minutes. Well, start editing, and then when you get home, open up Lightroom desktop and refine it from there, and that's it. Off you go. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, tell your friends, and hit that bell icon to be notified of future videos and all that good stuff. And stay tuned for more. Thanks.